in the last little bit about hashing, I want to show you a nice probabilistic method construction, which is perfect hashing. What is that? So as we mentioned before, a hash function is perfect for a set if there's no collisions. Maybe perfect, maybe you have higher standards, but somehow people coined this term here. And of course, it is somewhat good if you have no collisions, then at least using this as a dictionary has worst case constant time then for lookups after computing the hash value. You could also ask about minimal hash functions, then you're assuming that the number of bins and balls is the same. That's going to get really tight. Yep.
Same as injective, but injectivity of a function?
Yeah, it's similar. So the thing is that we think about a hash function to map from this large universe, and then it cannot possibly be injective. But if you restrict it to the class, then perfect means injective, and minimal means surjective, I guess. But yeah, the point is that you often think of functions mapping from the whole universe to some hash value. You don't necessarily know upfront which values you get, but for perfect hashing, you almost have to. So, you can always, when you choose the hash function first and then you get the set afterwards, there's always a set that makes collisions. That's clear. So you can think of it as an injective hash function. Now you can also ask whether you can combine those two, and then it gets really tight. You're supposed to use exactly the space that you have, and you can't have collisions. All of this, okay, certainly only possible if you have enough space. That's sure. But it's still a very stringent requirement. So we'll, in this case, focus on a static set of elements. And the schemes I know for making this dynamic are essentially rebuilding tricks where you then get amortized bounds. But there are fancy constructions available that compute minimal perfect hash functions for a given set of elements. And indeed, what we want for a hash function is not just to be perfect. Well, we want more than perfect. It should be fast to evaluate, which the term doesn't contain, right? It should be small to store. Again, not in the term. It should also be quick to find such a perfect hash function. That's perfect things are not easy to find sometimes. And of course, the term perfect doesn't tell us how many bins we're using. And the job gets a bit easier if you spread things out a lot. So ideally, we'd like a linear number of bins, and otherwise, these are all essentially best possible guarantees. So it sounds like a relatively strict requirement, and it's not clear why that would even be possible. Let's start simple. And essentially, we're going to pick a function from one of the classes that we've used before. So one of these universal hash functions. And let's just hope and pray and see what we can get. Okay. The number of balls that we throw is fixed. We have the set x is given, right? What we can do is we can increase the number of bins until it becomes reasonably likely that this hash function is perfect. So how big do we have to pick it? And of course, you can just plug in numbers and try to randomly guess the solution. But perfect hashing, that's the birthday paradox. Right? We're trying to avoid having any bin with two balls. So we kind of know the answer. We need that the number of balls is square root of the number of bins. Now there's a constant factor and so on. We'll have to take care of that. But we roughly know what the answer will be. So in other terms, let's try what pops out if we take just n squared, okay, as the number of bins. The probability that some we want that the probability that the highest loaded bin is 1. So we're in the universal class from before, so we're using the analysis, the same trick that we've used in the analysis here, except that now we pick just 1 here. And we'll use the same upper bound in terms of collisions. And so if you work out if m is at least n squared, then this is indeed 1, right? And we already know that this is the probability that this exceeds twice its expectation. That's the calculation from before. And so that's going to happen with probability 1/2, right? Which also means the converse, that we'll have no collisions with probability at least 1/2. So if we just pick enough bins, specifically it's enough to pick n squared bins, we have a good probability that just a standard universal hash function from one of the classes we know will do the trick and will be perfect. Of course, we're not all that happy because that uses quadratic space, not for storing the function, but for storing the hash table. We have to somehow store all the bins. If you were using this in a hash table data structure, it's only efficient if you can access buckets by index, and so you have to materialize an array of size m. And that's not that great, but it's a starting point. And indeed, a very simple trick gets this to work in much more reasonable space. And the trick here is to apply two hash functions. We'll have a hash function 1 that distributes the universe or the elements in X to tier 1 buckets. And here we don't insist on perfectness, because we can't really. We want these first level buckets to be of a reasonable size, so maybe linear. So we must live with some collisions, and we kind of know there will be one that has roughly square root n, unless we're lucky, or maybe cube root n. That's where we'll have to live with that. But then for each of the tier 1 buckets, we're going to find a secondary hash function using exactly the construction we've just done, where we allow the quadratic blowup to be sure that it's with good probability perfect, but we'll show that that's good enough, because intuitively there's no bucket bigger than square root n, so even quadratically blowing up these things is not going to get more than linear. So we're using a number of buckets, mi, that is quadratic in the size of the bucket. So now I need a notation for these. Let's say we use xi again. So first of all, that's likely to succeed, because the first level we just draw a random hash function, and then for each bucket we draw a hash function where we have probability 1/2 to succeed. So maybe we have to, on average, repeat each of the buckets twice to get a perfect function, but that's still expected linear time. And the overall hash function, of course, is you first apply h1 to get the bucket, and then you use the secondary hash function. So you take a value x and you map it to h2 of h1 of x of x. It looks a bit more crazy than it really is. You just evaluate the two one after the other. Now, the bit that's missing is to analyze the space. I think we'll postpone that till tomorrow. I'm just going to write down the statement.